This week's topic is about how to work double decreases on the wrong side, or the purl side. And I have two double decreases I've worked here. And this one, the center stitch is on top and the two stitches on either side are decreased. So I start with 3, I wind up with 1. In this one, the stitches to the right and the left are on top of the center decrease, or the center stitch. And you often see these in lace where a pattern is being formed, and usually it seems to be like a leaf or a flower petal or something where I've seen these used. But in a pattern that I'm working on now, I use this one on the purl side, and I've worked patterns before where I've used this one on the wrong side. And I realized I hadn't done any videos on these. Now, how you work this one normally is you slip 2 stitches as if you're going to knit them together. You knit the next stitch, and then you slip these 2 guys over the top. With this one, you slip the first stitch, knitwise of course, we're always slipping knitwise. I knit the next 2 stitches together, then I pass this one over. And it's something similar that you do on the wrong side when you work them. Now, we'll work this one first. So the most important thing is that we get that center stitch on top, and this is going to involve 3 steps. In the first step, I'm going to reorient the first 2 stitches, which are going to be, in this case, the ones on that side. Then I'm going to manipulate them by working them through the bottom and returning them back to the needle so that the center stitch is in front of the other stitch, and then I'm going to purl them together. So I'm going to be working the decrease on these 3 stitches. So what I'm going to do is I am going to work the 4 stitches when I get there. So I'm going to purl, 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 purl. Okay. Now, step 1, I'm going to shift the position of these 2 stitches on the needle so that when I work them, they won't be twisted. The next step is I want to put this stitch in front of that stitch. And I could take this one off, move that one over there, but anytime you take a stitch off a needle, you run the risk of dropping it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come underneath those 2 stitches. Okay? I'm going to catch both of them, and I'm going to return them to the needle. And the center stitch, if I look at this on the other side, the center stitch is now in front of the other stitch. Now let's do that again. I'll get them back there. I've gone through and I've adjusted their stitch mount so that they won't be twisted when this is all done. And I'm going to come under those stitches. Now, the way that I showed it before can be a little hard to see, so let's try turning it over to the right side. Oops. Turning it over to the right side. And you can see that I'm sticking my needle into those 2 stitches from below. I'm going to get them off, and then I'm going to put them back on the needle, making sure that I don't split them, which I am. Simple things become difficult when you've got a cold. Okay, I've got them there now. And now I'm just going to purl those guys together. And twisting them around on there has made them a little tight, so that might be a little hard to work the first time. Pull it off, and you can see, if I hadn't split the stitch, which I did, but I'll just go over here and fix that. Clean it up nicely. Okay, that I have worked those 3 guys together. Now I'm going to go to the end of the row. And when I turn it over to the right side, we'll be able to see that it is an exact match. Okay, this one here, this one down here. It is an exact match. Center stitch is on top. Now we're going to work the other one where the center stitch is underneath the 2 stitches. And I need to get to the wrong side. And now I have 9 stitches on my needles. And so I'm going to work 3 stitches before I want to work the decrease. Oops, yarn is kind of splitty today. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, when I am working this on the wrong side, it is just kind of the reverse of how I do it on the right side. On the right side, I slip the stitch and then I knit the 2 stitches together. Well, to work this on the reverse, I purl the 2 stitches together, I slip that stitch and reverse its position. I return this stitch to my left needle, that's the one that I've just purled, and I slip it over those 2 stitches, return that stitch to my needle, and work to the end of the row. So there you have it. And if I look at it, I've got that stitch, and it exactly, that decrease, it exactly matches the decrease I have here. And pretty much anything you do on the right side, you can do on the wrong side if you reverse engineer it. So I'll have more about this in my blog, and close-up photos of it, and written out steps for those of you that understand, read and comprehend things better that way.